Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So today I'm going to do a quick spoilery review of Wonder Woman Future State issue number 2. This is a book I very nearly didn't review because when I read the first one I was kind of put off from the character. And I'm like, okay, she's selfish, she's a little arrogant, she's short-tempered. You know, she steals from a soul in the line to cross the river Styx, so she can get across. Everything she's done in book 1 was for her own gain. You're like, well, that's not very heroic. And plus, my introduction to her in Wonder Woman Superman is that she is constantly lecturing Superman. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty off-putting. But I'm like, you know what, I'll go ahead and read it, see if it gets any better. And lo and behold, it does. First of all, the art, absolutely awesome in both issues. And I love this character design. You know, when I first saw her, I was like, she's going to be another tokenized character, you know. Here's the brown Wonder Woman. But they've really done a great job of making her her own person. And not just Wonder Woman, but with a different skin tone. And her race doesn't play into this at all. Her culture does, which is great. But this isn't about her race. It's not about her gender. And that's one of the reasons I went ahead and read book 2. I'm like, there's none of the agenda-driven crap we see so often in mainstream comics. But I was thinking it was going to build to that. So here's the cover. I like it a lot. Not a whole lot to say about it other than that. But go ahead and get into it here. Again, I love the art. I love the look of the character. And she's one of those now rare female superheroes that actually is quite beautiful. And, you know, she's cut in line. She pisses off the dog. I forget his name. I'm sorry. I'm not up in my Greek mythology. And, you know, you think she's going to have a battle. And she does, to an extent. But it's not really a focus of the book, so it's pretty quick. She steals the boat driver's hand and tosses it so that the dog runs away to get the bone. You know, kind of silly, whatever. But that's not really where this book comes together. She gets dropped into hell. These guys look freaking awesome. I love their design. And again, I really love her design. I love, in part, her face is great. But yeah, these guys are creepy as hell. I love it. Hades pops in, and you know, when he shows up, you're like, oh damn. I didn't realize who it was at first, but that's a really imposing look. I love that. I love to see. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit. I love to see that kind of look for one of the gods, to actually be kind of imposing and scary, and not just happy-go-lucky, silly, goofy guy. Plus, you know, she tries to do this magic trick thing that she's not very good at as a distraction before he shows up. She's not taking it very seriously, like she hasn't taken anything seriously to this point. So at this point, I'm still like, I mean, really? So I skipped some pages here. She makes an agreement with Hades. She's after. She just keeps saying this, a soldier. She's after a soldier to pull them out of hell. And she makes a deal with him. If she fails in a certain amount of time, he gets her soul. You know, standard stuff. And the really great thing about this moment is she's told by this goddess that she has to be calm She has to be focused. And she has to think only about her memories of this person and not about her desire to fight, because she's short-tempered. She gets in fights all the time. And the 2-3 books I've seen her in, she gets in fights at the drop of a hat. Or in arguments, at the very least. So she's telling her, you have to fight your own instinct. You have to fight the weaknesses of your character. And that was the first point in this comic that I'm like, oh. So we're actually acknowledging what she's done and her behavior as weaknesses. You don't have that very much anymore in comics. Usually women can act however they want, and it's just part of who they are, and you're supposed to just kneel down at the altar. They're so awesome, even though they broke a dude's hand because he made a pass at him and stole his bike. But these are being treated as weaknesses. You have to resist. You have to breathe. You have to get past your anger. You have to resist the urge to fight. You have to focus. These are all things that to this point she hasn't done. She's been the opposite of all of these. So she's telling Wonder Woman, fight your flaws. And we get this great memory of, she's fighting on Themyscira. I don't know what went down on Themyscira, but she's fighting, and she's trying to save this woman from falling off the cliff that she's either, I don't know if they're actual biological sisters, or she's calling her sister because they're fellow, I was going to say Amazons. They're not Amazons. And this guy comes up behind her. He's going to stab her in the back. This is so cool as an introduction to a character, because she lets go to chuck this spear and hits him right in the freaking forehead. It's so awesome. But it kills her. She sacrifices herself to save Wonder Woman. And now you understand all the things that Wonder Woman has done to this point. Cutting in line, stealing from a soul, harassing the boat driver. Her attitude, all of it has been about getting to hell and pulling this soul of someone she loves out of hell. And that's pretty awesome. That shows not just commitment, but deep love. Whether, it's not clear what kind of love it is. It doesn't matter. Deep love for the character. Deep love for this person that you're willing to go to hell. And she doesn't even hesitate when Hades says, if you don't do this in this amount of time, I get your soul and I'm going to torture you horribly for all eternity. She just goes, okay. She pulls her out of hell. And Hades, of course, reneges on his deal because he's Hades. And her look, too, is pretty awesome. I love the way it draws on her heritage. She's got this kind of South American native look that's really great. And while also matching kind of the theme and colors of Yara Flor's Wonder Woman. So they try to run, and she gets stuck, and Wonder Woman has to leave her behind again. And she's totally broken up about it, and she collapses, and I failed you. Just that moment of realizing that she failed. And then this is the part, she's racked with grief, and the realization of her own failure. And this is the important part of the book. This is the part that, along with having to confront her personality flaws as flaws, this part of the book where the narrator, this goddess, says, they're not heroes because they are perfect. They are heroes because they must overcome their imperfections. And I suppose, human or not, that is why we continue to tell their stories. This author gets it. She gets it. Absolutely, yes. It's not about heroes being perfect. How many heroes, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, you name them. How many female heroes since 2016, 2014 have we had that have been, you're supposed to view them as perfect, no matter how they act. They have no flaws. Everything's easy for them. And your first introduction to this Wonder Woman is she drops everything in her life to go to hell and get somebody out of hell. She's quick to anger. She has all these flaws. She does this out of love for somebody else. And she puts, at first it seems greedy, but then Hades is like, no, if you fail, I'll get your soul. And she's just like, okay, whatever, dude. Because to her, her love for this person is more important than any of that. And then she fails. That's your introduction to this character, is failure and weakness. That's wonderful. We've been given so many tokenized characters that are perfect and they never struggle and they never fail and they're never confronted with difficulty, and when they act like jerks, it's just part of them being awesome. And we're given this Wonder Woman who fails, whose impulses are not always virtues, who is sometimes willing to maybe be a little greedy because they don't want to lose this person. And they're willing to put their life on the line, their soul on the line for somebody else. And they fail. And not only do you feel for her, you're like, oh, you've been setting this up for 2 issues. You've been showing us what we expect to get out of a tokenized character, and then showing us that you get it. This is great. These critical panels where she has to confront her weaknesses and fight them as weaknesses, and then when she fails, and when she says, yeah, if I fail in the amount of time you give me to find this person's soul, you can have mine. Without hesitation. That's your hero moment. That's your moment of, oh, this person is serious. They are willing to do whatever it takes. And I absolutely was blown away by the ending of this comic. Because it sets up our expectations, right? And then it undermines them, but it does it in a great way. Because we're expecting this character to be perfect and flawless and awesome because they're female. And they have a certain color of skin, so you're supposed to just view them as perfect. We get that so much in comics right now. And to get the exact opposite. This artist, who is also the writer, she gets it. And that's great. Future State's a mess. Most of their comics are bad. But Catwoman was good and entertaining, and this one, now I want to read more, because first of all, I've come to like this character despite their flaws, and because the author gets it. As long as this author is writing Wonder Woman, I want to read it. So if you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.